I am Chris Palmer, and in today's How to Set Up Google Business Profile Manager for 2023, this will be the updated video so you can walk through step by step with me on how you can go ahead and set up your Google Business Profile or Google My Business Manager. Step by step, this will be a tutorial, a complete walkthrough from beginning all the way until the end. What we're going to be doing is optimizing a live profile. It will be a setup and an optimization. I'll walk you through the entire process step by step. If you're interested in following along at home, please go ahead and check out chrispalmermarketing.com. When you're on chrispalmermarketing.com, you can feel free to take a look at the main menu where you can see either services or the mastermind. On the mastermind, you can actually download the exact checklist myself and also my remote team utilize in order to optimize profiles. That's the exact list that we'll be working off of today. So with that being said, I really don't want to waste too much time here. I'd love to get directly into the step-by-step how to set up Google Business Profile Manager. So let's get directly into it right now. So what we're going to do first and foremost, and one of the caveats or one of the elements that I want to point out to you first and foremost is you will need to get your primary images ready. Now, what I mean by primary images is you will want to go out there and get your logos. So the logo is going to be massively important as far as putting in for your products, along with that, also your main cover photo, and of course your first posts if you've just launched your profile. All right, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just going to go ahead and get this all set up so we can go ahead and get into this. All righty, transform, and all right, grab myself here. All right, I'll make myself as small as possible. Just so there's no distraction or anything that is going to take away from the main content of today's video. So with everything out of the way, first and foremost, my name is Chris Palmer with chrispalmermarketing.com. Again, if you'd like to follow along, you can come on over to chrispalmermarketing.com, click on Masterminds. When you open this up, under the free section, you will find the checklist. All right, so with that being said, you can come right in here and download this checklist. It's literally right here. Along with that, I will be walking you through the exact checklist. This is the step-by-step walkthrough that we will be utilizing in today's video in order to optimize a live profile. So let's not waste too much time here. We'll get directly into it now that we have all of the settings and everything all set up. Looking for done for you, of course, services.chrispalmermarketing. So let's go ahead and get into this. I really don't want to waste too much time. So the business that we're going to be optimizing, we generally focus on law firms, real estate, dentists, chiropractors. However, we of course love to help small business owners regardless of industry or niche. So what we're going to be working on here is New Day Pest Control. So New Day Pest Control clearly is a pest control company. They are based in New Jersey. And what we want to go ahead and do is we want to start off with the logo. All right. Now, it actually looks like this particular business owner has uploaded the logo. We really need to have our very own so that we can upload it so it looks uniform as we go through this process. Now, the size that we're going to want to use will be 400 by 300. So let's go ahead and get in here and see if we could take a look at a couple of these things here. So we're going to go into add a photo. I'm going to go to photos. Let's take a look at the logo, see if it's in here. And I don't believe I see it. So let's just go out here. We'll go out on the web, save image as, it's a WebP. So let's go ahead and just open up the link. So in order to grab this, if you for some reason do not have a copy of your logo, or if you're doing this for another company or a friend of yours, what you can do is you can just open up the image in a new tab, right? And that's exactly what I'm going to. Still giving me a hard time. What I'm doing is just a screen capture, and we're going to just grab the logo. And then just so everyone at home and everybody watching this, you should have either Paint or Mac Paint. No matter what, you have this tool here. So what we're looking to do is we're going to go ahead and hit the resize. We're going to go to pixels, and we're going to do 400 by 300. We're going to not maintain the aspect ratio. All right, so 4 by 3. So this is very important because we're going to be utilizing this so it's looking like it's still not where we want it to go. Over here, we'll get right back into this. I wonder if we could just use this. I really like this. All right, so that's doable. All right, so we're looking to do 400 by 300. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and just utilize the same exact color that they have. That's the exact color that we're going to use for the outline. All right, very uniform. There's a reason for this. We'll talk about that in a little bit here as we get this out. This is the very first thing that I like to get out of the way, is getting this image down pat. I know it seems like such a small task, but it's utilized so much. And what we want to go ahead and name this is we want to utilize JPEG. So use JPEG. It's fast. The images need to be, I believe, lower than 50 or 250 kilobytes, but we want a smaller image as far as image density. And we want to utilize just the brand name. So new, press control, and we want to name it what it is, logo. Now, don't be overly concerned about stuffing a bunch of metadata inside of these images. This type of information is stripped from the image anyway. It's of no actual concern for you or the business owner. All right, so this is perfect. So what we want to do now that we have our logo in place is we want to come inside of here and we're going to start editing the profile, right? So the very first thing is we want to take a look at the name. So that looks great. Primary category, we really just want to use one, perhaps maybe two. This is going to be massively impactful. Very next thing that we want to do is we want to take a look at the description. Now, I actually like to make sure that it's uniform, the website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and see if they have an about. And on the about, what are they talking about here? Here's what they have as far as the about. So we want to make sure that that is the same. Offering solution. So what we're going to do, so this is actually what they have written on the website. So this is what I would like to have in my business description. All right, so this is the opening date. We're not going to mess around with that. The phone number, we'll leave that be. We always want to make sure here that the website, is the website actually www or is it at the root? So we want to double check and make sure that the business is actually set properly. You know, sometimes this could be mixed up, and I completely understand that there can be a redirect. However, we want it pointing at the exact address that the website is housed at. So in this case, it is www or www. So this is perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look here. This particular owner, we haven't done any website stuff yet, but I see quite a few things here. So I'm going to have to talk to him about that. But we have a short name here. So this is a relatively older profile. Business location, so we're going to leave that as it is. So we have our service area. All right, now we actually have an address here. So what we're looking to do is we want to get a clear understanding of Fair Lawn, New Jersey. So the service area is, so what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get rid of all this stuff. You're not going to get an increase by stuffing in a bunch of details, but what we want to do is we want to go broad and then we want to go hyper specific. What we're looking to do here is we want to go ahead and do Fair Lawn, New Jersey, and then we want to do, so we have New Jersey and Fair Lawn. This is where we want to be. So New Jersey and Fair Lawn. So this is where the actual business is, and then this is the state. So that's where we want to stay at. So it looks as though that we're open from 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. 7 days a week. So that's 8 to 9. Now, the only other thing that we want to go ahead and add is the holiday hours. So I assume, if there's any difference, I'm sure that the business owner can come in here and make a change. However, with that being said, we want to give Google as much information as we possibly can. This is a small edit. If there's any changes that have to be made, of course, when I talk to the owner tomorrow, we'll take care of that. But what I want to point out here is that, again, feed as much information into Google as possible. We want to keep our potential customers updated. So it's a really good idea to go ahead and put in any type of holiday hours, at least for the pending year or the current year. All right, so completely up to you. Now, when we come into here, there are different variations depending on the type of business that you're currently in. If you're in a business that offers a kitchen or a lunch or a dinner or a delivery, fill out the additional hours that make sense for you. All right. Now, no matter what type of business that we're talking about, if your business is online, if you have a website, what we want to do is we want to mark the online hours to be 24/7. The website is functional. The website has a form on it. The website has numerous emails on it. The website is open for service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's why we built a digital. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just mark that in there. All right. So more from the business. So identifies as, now I'm not 1,000% sure, but I'm not 100% on veteran, but I'm pretty sure he is a veteran, but I'm not 1,000%. All right. Accessibility. So wheelchair accessible elevator. So let's just take a look at something. All right. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and take a look at the actual location. And we want to have a really good look at this location, right? So can't see anything there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head out here to maps. And I just want to look at the building, the structure. I want to look at the road. Is there wheelchair ramps? Like there's a couple of things that we want to take a look at, especially if you're doing optimizations for a business owner. All right. So we just need to take a look and see, hey, what's here? What's actually here and what's going on? Let's take a look at this business. So this here is Fairlawn. So this is business complex. All right, let's go around the block quick. Now this really does look like there's going to be, I would venture to guess, there is going to, I have a clear understanding of that. Yes, yes, and yes. Save that. All right, going into amenities. So it has gender neutral restroom, yes. Wi-Fi, I'm not too sure about. I would assume that I'm not 100% there, and I don't believe that that's going to be impactful whether I leave that one on or off. Now the crowd, of course, we're friendly, and of course it is. All right, offerings, payments. All right, so current. So you know the type of payments that you're going to accept for yourself as a business owner. So just be very mindful of what you're putting in here. Make sure that it's true and authentic to your actual business. So what we want to do is just go ahead and accept that because the business owner put that in there. I'm with him. If this is what he offers or this is type of payment that is going to be utilized in order to render service, then that's what it is. Planning, as far as planning is concerned, appointment required. Yes, this is something that he has put or added into here. Recycling. Battery is no. This is no. No. Glass bottles, yes. Ink cartridge, no. Light bulb, that's glass. So yes, and metal. So okay, moving on. This seems pretty basic because of where it is located. I know that they have those amenities there. Moving on down the list here. What we're looking at here is service options. Your attributes were uploaded. No delivery. All right, let's take a offers curbside pickup. So no, yes, offers online estimates, offers curbside pickup. So no and no. Language assistance. So if it is going to be 100% necessity that someone would need assistance with a different language and it was going to be a customer, I am very confident that the business owner would do their very best to settle the arrangement, and I'm sure you would too. If you had a potential client or customer, they simply just needed some type of translation, whether that's with a phone application or whether you literally call one of those services in order to communicate properly. You know, I don't know any business owner that wouldn't do whatever it took in order to serve their customers. So this just makes sense to answer yes. Offers same day delivery. I do believe that he will come the same day, depending on urgency of the actual job. So this is the basic optimization of this first part. So we took care of the business name, the opening date, contact information, phone number, website, location areas. All right. We also talked about service area, business hours. We then went ahead and added in some of the holiday hours, or online hours, or any other hours that might be pertinent or important for your business. Then we moved on into some extras about the business, you know, whether you identify as Asian, veteran, Latino, LGBTQ, and or women led. On top of that, accessibility, amenities, crowd, like is it a great place no matter who you are? Are you taking business? Are you a great business? I'm sure that you are. Offerings, payments. We took care of planning. There's recycling on here, very interesting. Then we move into service options. And that really wraps it up for this particular section. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move into the actual services. So let's go ahead and take a look at that now. That's where I like to head off to next. What I want to look at next is going to be for reviews, add an update, calls, pickup and delivery, edit services. Let's take a look. So this is something that happens consistently. No information, just check the boxes of yes. So this is the most tedious job of them all, is coming in here and updating. Moved now. It's just unnecessary, to be honest with you. Let's just take a look at this. Your business profiles, help desk, add a new business, notifications, business. All right. Now, if you were curious about your profile ID, it is under here. Advanced settings, see profile ID, manage labels, store codes, and other settings. Booking for customers, automated calls. So what we're looking at here now is just setting up the rest of the details. So under, when you click on these three dots by your name here, what we're looking for here is we want to go into business profile setting. Under business profile settings, I checked the manager's accounts. There's no other details in there. Then we're going into advanced settings. Once inside of advanced settings, you have your main business identification. So that's your CID or customer identification number. Next, you want to, if there's any type of assistance, if you would like to turn this on, you have the ability to do it inside of here. Next, we have phone number. Don't show customers your phone number on your business profile. All right. So if you don't want to show it, that's up to you, but this is where you turn it on or off. The label, it's adding keywords in here is not going to be important. However, I do like to put, that's just a label or New Day Pest Control. Store code, again, this is if there's multiple businesses, it's really good, or you have multiple locations, you can come in here and you can number each of your locations under this particular section here. Next, you're going to have your Google Ads phone number. If this is relevant for you, then you may want to add that number in there. Next, we're going to go ahead and head back. Now we're going to look at linked accounts, but that's not going to be worth our while currently. Next, what we want to look at is we will want to go ahead and just make sure, let's go to messages, turn on web. All right, so this is all looking good. We'll go to chat settings. All right, so we want to turn on chat. So let customers message your business on Google for free. Absolutely. And then you can turn on your desktop notifications, just like we saw in the past screen. What you can actually do is you can turn on, so as soon as you turn on your computer, if there's been any messages, it'll pop up for you if you allow that functionality within your browser, if you're utilizing Chrome. Send and receive receipts. So the Gmail or the email that is attached to your Google Business Profile, you will receive your messages and or receipts or CCs back to the email address that you have connected. So welcome message. So this is completely up to you what you want to write in here. This way, as soon as they come on, they're actually greeted with a message. So that way they're not just there saying hi or hello. This is very, very common. I see this all the time. You want to make sure that you put something in here because people will just write hi, hello, and then they'll leave. All right. So you want to hit them with a response. It would be a really good idea generally to go ahead and put the number into here. So that's exactly what I'm going to do for the business owner, right? What I want to do is I'm just going to grab the phone number. We're going to come up into here. We're going to go into the, my mistake. We're going to come into messages. Right, so I grab the phone number. I'm going back into messages. I'm going to click on the three dots, I believe, chat settings. And then we're going to come in here to the welcome message and we're going to write, leave us a message, period. Perfect. So that hits the character count. That's absolutely phenomenal. Hey, leave a message or send us an actual message. Give us a phone call and or a text. Add fax. Give customers instant answers to common questions. So automatic fax, this is perfect. We want to make sure we take care of this. Types of automated fax, opening hours, appointments, contact info, location, payment, delivery, website. So what this is referring to is if they're asking questions or common questions, frequently asked questions, it will give a pop-up response. Hey, here's the business hours. Here's when they're open. Here's the website. Here's the services they have. They're on the website, not the ones that you stuff into the area. Be mindful of this. With that being said, also, not only within the Q&A section, but also within the chat. So if somebody comes into the actual messaging system and they start to ask a very common question that's already listed, but they just didn't read yet, well, it will answer for you. This is phenomenal. It never messes up. It only answers very specific things. So this is a good idea to turn. All right. So update business information. That's what we're doing now. Custom facts. All right. So add a question. Do you offer termite services? So what we want to ask inside of here are the most common or the most profitable or the main services that you provide or the most common questions that you often hear. These are the questions that we want to add inside of here. Do you offer termite services? Give us a call today at, so I'm not going to add every single one of them because this is a tutorial. We're going to do this later, but what I would do is I would fill out again the most profitable, common questions or the most common services that you have, the most common questions and the most profitable services that you want to make sure they get an answer to. Fill those questions and answers out. And of course, always leave the phone number or a mode of communication where they will actually get you at a very rapid rate. You know, the probability you have to get to the customer within that day. When they're there, we want them to be able to convert, make a phone call, send a text message, whatever is best for you. Make sure you get your information in there. So this is golden now. We've turned that section on. We've added facts. We've added the welcome message. We're sending receipts. We've turned on chat. So we're starting to really round out this profile. Now, this is the section where we turn on the web notifications. Again, this is when you fire up your browser and you log into this profile, you'll actually get the messages that say, hey, you know, this person you've talked to. And there's also inside of the dashboard, it will tell you about your calls, missed calls, chats, and the other details. All right. So it's always good to turn that on. There's nothing wrong with that. Pickup and delivery, I believe. All right. So this is something that he has in here. Add another link. So there are third-party booking solutions that you're allowed to use. You can click on this button here and literally learn about those. You get small enhancements within your profile, much like we did here. We've added in the contact because on the contact page, I believe it's a pop-up, it's a form, it's an intake. So very, very helpful. This is an enhancement within the profile. So I always like to double check the 3 dots. You never know when they're going to add a new feature. So just like in the chat section, there's new features being added all the times, like facts along with the Q&A. Just look at those 3 dots, you know, and sometimes within profiles, especially older profiles, you'll see that they give you a lot of extra options that newer profiles might not have. All right. So just always be mindful of the selections, and be mindful of the little buttons. There could be opportunities for enhancements. We're going to go in here to calls. So as we can see here, not missing any. Perfect. We're going to come up here, call setting. Turn on call history. Yes. All right. Okay. So this is really good. You don't have to worry about anything there. Services. So services, what I want to point out here is this. All right. When we come inside of services, yes, you could potentially, for a short period of time, anywhere between 14 days and 45 days, get a temporary increase for services that are outside of your primary category. As you can see, they list primary category. Everything else is considered a custom service in this section. So if you're looking for a temporary gain, sure, you can fill this out, but we want to make sure that we're filling out the pertinent information or the required information. As far as Google giving you recommendations, these are just recommendations. They're just saying, hey, do you want to add this? It's relevant to this, or maybe your website talks about this, or maybe it doesn't. But just clicking the button, this is not going to give us any type of ranking increase. It's just diluting the profile. We're a pest control company for this particular example. Everything else can be discussed on the website, on the phone call, on the message, or of course, within our product section. What we're going to do is we're going to come inside of here. Now, this is where we can actually give the information and we're not looking like we're trying to spam the profile. See, inside of services where they clearly list primary category and everything else is custom, within here, we actually have an opportunity to list out the things that are relevant to our business. Now, this is a two-part section. And what I mean by that is within the product section, there's categories and there's also products. So I'm going to walk you through how to set this up. This is one of the most important elements within the basic optimization of your Google Business Profile Manager account. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we will come inside of here. I like to add the desktop. Did I not save it? I actually want this to be this. It can't be. What about this? Can I take this? It's very basic, but that's okay. JPEG going into the download section. Yep, I don't see it. So save. What we're going to do is we're going to upload. So we're going to go ahead and add in the logo, the product name. So what we want to take a look at here is we do pest control, wildlife removal. So pest control, wildlife removal, pest control, wildlife removal, pest control. So I'm hoping this is of course it's not. Okay, well, it's fine. Let's see what we're tuned around. Pest control. So now we have set the primary category. So you get to choose 4 categories. We're going to choose 4 categories. Why? Because you get the enhancement within the profile. I'll show you in a few moments. So we're going to choose our 4 categories. Then once we have our 4 categories, we'll also have our 4 products. Now you can add each and every one of the elements, but I'm going to speak with this particular business owner. I've had quite a few experiences with pest control companies, and this generally isn't how I would go about doing this. So him and I'll have a small we'll talk tomorrow once we have the deliverable taken care of. But in this case, I know for sure that we are going to be focusing on the 4 things that we're going to take care of. Exterminator. So exterminator. So we're going to create that as a category. So exterminator, New Jersey. So now we have pest control, exterminator, and this particular piece here. No individual page for estimate. Wonderful. Well, I can't send it to the same page. Again, this is not, website's not set up for, well, I would like to see it. However, that's neither here nor there. We still have to get this job done. I don't see any really good options currently. All right, so again, we're going to add the logo. The reason why we're utilizing logo is we want it to be uniform across the profile, all right? And this is unique for us. So it's a unique image. It's a unique for the actual product. So the next element that is very important is wildlife. Get rid of this. So I click on it anymore. Please go to a top level page. So we have a set in the primary category. However, it has not been created on the actual page. I don't believe that this is going to work here, but we're going to go ahead and give it a go. I don't think the hashtags take usually. I'll probably get kicked out. You know, like the jump links might get kicked for enjoying it. Last but not least, so we did wildlife. The last one I know is termites. Now these will be the this will be the primary 4 categories, and these are the most important services to the business owner I'm already well aware of. Termites, pest control, of course, exterminator, which is pest control. It's just the variation or another way of saying it, I guess. And then, of course, we have our wildlife removal. Wildlife removal is technically a separate service. However, wildlife removal, insect removal, pest removal, very, 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 very similar. Generally, they're coupled together. So he could get away with it, but we have to get the optimization on the site done in order to dot the I's and cross the T's for Google. So once this is complete, we should start to see those in here once they get updated. Google is reviewing my selection. Well, that's good. All right, so they are starting to put them in here. So now we'll have the products, the category. So we want to make sure that we get all of these. Let's see if we can get another one. Oh, they didn't show it that time. That's okay. So March 27th. So it's been a little bit since your business information, your edit is being reviewed. That's very, very common. Logo, profile, questions and answers. See if they allowed. Yep. So termites, wildlife, exterminator, pest control. So we set our categories, termite, wildlife, exterminator, pest control, and then we put our products inside of, because this is a product and a category. These are our top 4. You can go back in there into each of the categories, like wildlife removal is a category, and then you could do, okay, we remove bats, we remove ants, we remove, I don't even know, bats, birds, chipmunks, dead animals, right? You could go ahead and add each of those products underneath the category. So what I mean by this is if you're coming in here and doing this, you go into edit products, you're going to add a product, you would select your category. So in this instance, it would be wildlife removal. Then you would say, bat removal. You come in here, bat removal. I generally wouldn't set a price because you don't want to be too cheap for the guys that are looking for expensive, and you don't want to be expensive for the gentlemen or ladies that are looking for cheap. We want them to give us a call. So that's the objective, right? So that's that. We'll go ahead and give this a little refresh and see if they're letting it come in. Yep, they're starting to come in. So we could view our products. Excellent. This is what we love to see right here. So now this is the connection that we can make over to the actual profile. See, we have a whole new enhancement. And then on top of it, we have primary keywords that are most important to us as the business owner. When I click on this, it gives the opportunity. Usually what we like to do is wildlife removal, put the phone number, and then visit the website. So that way it's name, address, phone number, visit website, and then of course right here too. Bang, 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 primary service, got the logo. It's very uniform. This will just look like these. It'll just be boxes right here. And then underneath that, there'll actually be 4 categories. So it'll say the categories. And then, of course, the questions and answers. We like to get 30 to 50 of these inside of here. Once you have the 30 to 50, you answer all of the questions related to your services and then your most common question. For instance, what I mean by this is, do you offer pest control services? Do you offer exterminator services? Do you offer wildlife services, or whatever's most important to you? All right. So you want to answer all of those questions. Yes, you can ask and answer the questions within your own profile. The objective is to be the most helpful for the end customer as possible. It's totally within guidelines. You can do that yourself. So we took care of Q&A. We took care of photos. We took care of, well, let's just double check something. Let's go to logo. So this is the one that's right here. So he tried to get the big long image in there and it doesn't quite fit. So what we're going to do is we're just going to grab his main logo here, and it should be perfect down in here. And that's really what we're after. We want it to just look just right. C logo. Excellent. Just the circle. That's what we're after. And this should change over in here. And that's really what we want to see. We will go ahead and wait for that. Edit profile. We're going to go back into photos. Cover photo. Logo. Everything's uniform. Everything is uniform. It all looks the same. It all blends. It looks like a brand because that's generally what a business is. It's a brand. It's a company. It should all look uniform, clean. These are just images. As you load up more images, I'm sure you will, you'll see other images in there. I personally like to have everything inside of here uniform. Everything from this, even though a customer won't see it here. I like this to be just the circle, just a logo. Like, see how the little words are? I don't like that. The B is really catchy and cool. So Google will swap these out. They do what they want. I think the B looks cool, so it grabs your eye, grabs your attention right away. I mean, it's a bee. When I see a bee, I'm like, ah! So it grabs my attention. So here's what we're looking to do. See the categories? So now we have our primary keywords as an enhancement within the profile. What's really great about this is within mobile, it'll also ride underneath the actual profile, just like this. These are the 4 most important keywords to our business, to your business. You would want yours in here. And what's really great part of the enhancement is not only will we get the links, but we get this pop out, and it's giving phone numbers. And of course, whatever the service is, it's listed by category, and then the product within the category. You could fill out your categories with multiple products that are relevant to the category. All right, I'm sure that makes sense. If you're a service business, this is pest control. Your service is your product. All right. I know it's very, very confusing, much like how they differentiate the difference between brand traffic. I'll show you what I mean. Google's definitions and our definitions can be wildly different, much like the misconception here. I'll show you this. So when you come inside of here, let's see if they still have it in here. You know what? They don't do that any longer, actually, now that I think about it. Unless you have a really old, I have still seen it. Maybe that was a dashboard. Maybe you could still set that up inside of a Data Studio dashboard, I believe. But there used to be a piece at the top, and it would say brand traffic, direct traffic, or search traffic. I believe that's how it was set up. It was very confusing on direct and brand traffic. Google would get these wildly mixed up, all right? So what I'm getting at here, they write services, but they tell you, here's your category. This is your primary service that you offer. Everything else is custom. I really, really highly recommend put your stuff into products, especially if you're a service business. You get the enhancements. Google gives you a reward for adding products. They do not give you a reward for adding services. Which ones do they want you to add? Completely up to you, of course, as a business owner. With that being said, we have gone through, we've edited the profile. We, of course, I'm sure you know about reviews and asking and answering reviews. We set up messaging and chat that. We set up the phone number and the receiving of the phone numbers. Also took care, I looked at the performance, advertised, we don't need to take care of that. Editing the products, we took care of categories and products and link to relevant sources. As far as services are concerned, it is going to be in our best interest to go in here and remove each of these custom services, regardless if they were recommended or not. This is not the only way I would recommend adding in those services is if you have literally listed them and they have their own unique page on your website. And still then, I might not even consider that. But it has to have a page. Just because Google recommends a particular key phrase to add into the service section, if I do not have a relevant page, like spider extermination. Do I have a spider extermination page? Like, let's take a look. I see spiders, so I have spiders. So what I could do is, again, if I have a specific page for that specific service, then I might go for it. But the name of this page is spiders. It's completely up to you. My recommendation is to eradicate each and every thing except for the primary category of your business. However, with that being said, we have covered each and every one of the sections as far as the basic optimization and the Google Business Profile setup. If you have any questions related to Google Business Profiles, please feel free to go ahead and ask in the section below. If you're looking for a done-for-you solution where we take care of every single detail from beginning until end, reach out at chrispalmermarketing.com. If you just want to ask a simple question below, or we offer consulting, if you need services done for you, done with you, whatever you need, SEO, local SEO, Google Maps, Google Ads, Facebook ads, anything related to these topics, I'd be happy to help you out. But other than that, that will wrap it up for this video. And I look forward to seeing you how to set up and how to go ahead and optimize your Google Business Profile Manager video. Have a wonderful day.